Good morning. My name is Taylor. This is Hacking Company at Remax River City. I hope that you guys are doing well wherever you are. We're here to decode some of the statistics that have dropped because, man, this has been a really interesting spring market. And before I get to that, I have to introduce the rest of the HACK&CO team. If at any point you want to talk to anybody that you see here, you should definitely call the Fast Agent Hotline at 780-909-6770. Let's bring them on to the... bring on the group here. Cordell, how are you doing this morning?
I'm not too bad. Started the day early, talking to clients, booking appointments, that kind of thing. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I have to say it's bright and sunshiny here in Edmonton, both when it comes to the weather and the market. And in fact, I think both might be smoking a little bit right now. We also have Anthony D'Souza with us today. How you doing, Anthony?
Pretty good. Great. It's a Friday, going into a busy weekend. Feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Fridays for realtors. It's not the end of our week, but everyone that we come into contact with is in better moods. That's what I know about Fridays. How's your Friday starting off, Amy Brown?
Oh, it's going well. I had an early morning. I've got a home inspection this afternoon, so it's going to be a busy day.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we have a whole series of things to unpack today. And what do you guys think our top story would be?
Months of inventory.
Tell us more.
All right. So last month when we did this, we were in a balanced market. We were sitting at 3.4, and I kept saying it does not feel like that. Do not sleep on that statistic. It does not feel like that. And then this month, it finally came out that that's because we are in a seller's market, sitting at only 2.6 months of inventory. So I feel a lot less crazy for saying that.
It's funny how that is, right? Where you see this information come out and then, it supports what you've already been seeing in the marketplace. Who else feels like that? Who feels like the market's really tight right now? I would also agree. We're seeing a lot of action. Like where it kind of hit me, that months of inventory is like a great reference point. And for those that don't know, what we look at is how many months would it take to run out of all the inventory at the current rate of sales if there were no new listings. If it's over 3.5, well, that means that it is a buyer's advantage. If it's under 3.5, we're going to see it to be in a seller's advantage. And right around that, like 3.25 to 3.75, kind of feels balanced, right? When buyers and sellers come into contact with each other, they kind of want to get a deal done. Whereas when we see these start to strain away from that, now we see like a lot of sellers with confidence out there, right? Let's talk about multiple offers. Who's represented buyers to multiple offers last month? Who's won in multiple offers last month? I think that some people think that when it goes into multiple offers that there's like no skill, but I think that there's also some people out there that think that there's no skill in poker. It's just the cards that you get dealt, right? I think differently. This has been the hottest that we've seen May in the last 5 years. Like 2022, we all felt that earlier in 2022, it was even more of a seller's advantage, but May was the same, right? Statistically, when we take a look at months of inventory. I also noticed a little bit. Did anybody else take a look at inventory? This is the lowest we've had it.
Right.
Say again,
lowest
Tony?
we've had, but a lot came to the market.
A lot came to the market, but the lowest we've had in 5 years. In fact, we're 13% under the 5-year average, and there's only about 7,100 properties on the market right now. Who's out there with clients looking for something right now that doesn't seem to be available? Me too. It seems to be somewhat slim pickings when it comes to the most desirable places. Where do you think the hottest places are right now? Where's the hardest place to find stuff?
I've been really feeling it in Windermere.
Yep. I have to say I've been out in Sherwood Park, and for the stuff in like that $500,000 or $600,000 range, very, very few out there.
I'm feeling it with acreages in Strathcona County and also in St. Albert for those 600 plus range homes.
Yeah, it's interesting. So if somebody out there has a house like that, know that the market is going to respond quite well. And not all the parts of the market are hot right now. There are parts of the market that are a little bit slower. And so if you maybe are selling in one of these hot parts, talk to us about where you're buying, because it could be that you end up having kind of an advantage on both sides. But a lot of people think that they'd be nervous to sell knowing that they also had to buy in a hot market. Would you say that this is worse than it was early 2022?
It feels like there's some parts of it that feel worse because there's less inventory than there was back then, but it's it really just depends on what neighborhood and what price point you're shopping at.
For me, it
And
feels
Tony, you were saying that. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
For me, it feels about the same. It's got that same pulse.
Okay. And can you describe that a little bit?
You're out there with buyers, and it's not like, oh, I really like this house, I'll take a week to think about it. You have to let them know, like, if this is the one, we've got to get our ducks in a row and we've got to get our offer in. You have to move really quickly in a market like this.
I was just in that same situation. We were looking at a place last week. We ended up negotiating with the seller. We came to an agreement, right? And then, even though the property was like 27 days on market or something like that, all of a sudden there was another offer. And like, you're not safe until everything's signed.
That's right.
And so then we had to go into multiple offers, and it definitely changed our outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be something that comes up as you go as well. Like the market continues to be active, so getting those negotiations tight and trying to make offers that you know that you'll be able to come to an agreement on, I think that that's also part of the game right now.
Yeah.
Tony, you were talking a little bit about how there were a lot of listings. What did you see there?
It just seemed like there was a lot of new listings that came to the market in May. And, we're seeing with sales to new listings, we're seeing a good percentage of those new listings, the same number leaving the market at a successful rate. What I've noticed is a lot of the new listings seem to get a lot of the attention. We've already known this. This is just how things work in real estate. The new shiny things get all the attention. But there's so many people that are just waiting for new properties to get listed. As soon as their, collaboration center lights up with a new listing, they're on our phone, they're, wanting to get there on day zero. And so that's probably been the biggest thing I noticed in May is just the amount of new properties and how many people we have that we're working with that are like, we need to get there right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. Like when we looked at sales to new listing ratio this month, what we were seeing was that for every 10 new listings, there were 7 sales. So things aren't staying on the market very much. That's the strongest listing to sale percentage in the last 5 years. Not the same for everything though, right? Like detached properties were 10 listings show up and 7 leave. It was 8 out of those 10 that were leaving for semi-detached. And get this, row and townhouse, for every 10 that are listed right now, 9 leave. That's wild. Meanwhile, condos are 5 out of 10. 10 new listings, 5 sell. But I also want to state that's still the best in the last 5 years. Cordell, do you have any notes on what we saw from last month?
Honestly, it was just pretty hectic. Every time I met with a client, it was like the first set of showings, we ended up like putting in an offer. And that's because like I explained to them beforehand, like, look, whenever we go see homes and they're under, 5 to 7 days on market, like we're going to have to move fast, especially in these desirable areas. And we can't come with like aggressively low offers because, they're new to the market. We can't be trying to offer our initial offer of 20% off list price or something crazy like that, which, everyone wants a deal, but it's just not the market for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would put that in real estate terms, but it is the fool around and find out part of this game. What did you guys think about the Bank of Canada announcement the other day? Rates are going up by 0.25%.
I was disappointed. I don't want them to keep going up, but I understand.
I have to say I have mixed feelings about that, because as much as interest rates going up is like a negative thing for the average consumer, I think that the information that we've been seeing the month before, where the average Canadian is carrying more debt than ever before, our combined debt is more than the GDP of our country. What that means to me as a huge nerd is that there's always a certain amount of money in the system. And right now, the money is mostly being controlled by those people that are lenders, those like debt holders, Visa and other entities that are similar to that, which means there's less money in the system to buy consumer goods, which is like what drives our economy, right? And so until there is a pain point to pay down that debt, which is rising interest rates, it will stay that way. So we're probably going to see some less consumer activity, less retail activity, and in many markets, there will be less real estate activity because people are reconfiguring their finances, paying off their debt because it hurts right now. And that's also going to affect how many people move here.
I was just going to say, Taylor, we've been seeing like a record number of people moving to Alberta. I had 7 sales in May. Half of them, more than half of them were either people I was working with directly or the buyers to the properties we were selling were people relocating from other places. And, 4 so far in June, same thing. People that are relocating for various reasons, even just moving north from southern Alberta because it's much more affordable here and they can't believe how far their money stretches. It's awesome to see, and we're ready. We've got lots of inventory here still left to go. And these families are excited about moving to Alberta. It's not what you normally see in the mainstream about how, Alberta must look to the rest of Canada. These people are moving here and they're excited.
I can understand why. Check this out. So when we take a look at average pricing right now, like if you're looking at a detached property and you say, okay, I can get a detached property in Edmonton, Alberta right now for $500,000. So if you're in Edmonton right now and you have maybe you bought a $500,000 property, you have a $400,000 mortgage, and you just saw interest rates change, I think you're probably up in payments somewhere between $25 and $50 a month. Right? That's something that is not as hard to take as some of these other areas. Like if you're in Toronto, 1.8 million. Your payments just changed to the same tune as a car payment. Hamilton, Ontario, 1.4 million for a detached property. And this was the most interesting thing to me about this information was Calgary is $160,000 difference to Edmonton right now.
Wow.
Like moving to Alberta where you get low taxes, you have lots of employment opportunity, and everybody loves the mountains, but do you love the mountains $160,000 much? Right?
Think about how many trips you could go there.
So very interesting when I see this. We are the lowest price on this table, and this is major markets. You don't have to live in Edmonton. You might want to check out places like Winnipeg. I don't want to, but other people might. So I think that this is one of the reasons that we saw 140,000 people move to Alberta last year, record numbers. What do you think about are you guys seeing a lot of change? Where do you see the new Albertans the most? Where do you recognize them the most?
What I see is I think that most of them are moving here and they want to be near the schools. They're new neighborhoods near schools, and so normally that's outside of the Anthony Henday, the West End, Southwest, Southeast. That's usually where these people are looking to go because that's what they want. They want that new neighborhood feel with the schools nearby. And so that's usually where they want to be. And they're excited. They're coming here. Most of them aren't even getting a mortgage. Or if they are, it's a really small one and they're paying off a whole bunch of debt based on what they sold when they were leaving. And so they're just excited to start over and get it, fully integrated into what Alberta has to offer.
Yeah, it's like the Alberta Debt Consolidation Program. Sell your $1.8 million place in Toronto, take your equity, clear your debt, buy something that's similar here for $500,000, and now you're set and ready to go. And you can afford to travel to the mountains from here, right? You didn't spend that money moving to Calgary.
And a lot of families that are moving here don't even need to change jobs. Some of them have been working remotely. They're still employed in Ontario or in BC, but they can work remotely here. They just might have to start a bit earlier in the day. So it's pretty cool to see.
I remember talking to people 3 years ago about insourcing. I was like, everybody's outsourcing right now. They're going to other countries, but you are going to see insourcing in Canada in the next 5 years. And here we have it, where it's way less expensive to employ somebody who does the same job and often remote work from a place like Toronto. And if you had that same employee in Toronto, you would normally have to pay them enough that they could live within a boundary around your company where they could easily commute, right? And so you have to pay somebody enough to live in a $1.8 million house in Toronto, whereas that person's not coming to the office anymore. So what does it matter if they're zooming in from Toronto or zooming in from Edmonton? Where it matters is your company's payroll. That's where it matters. In fact, you could pay them rates to live here and work from here and fly them in for meetings quarterly. And you'd probably still do much better than hiring somebody in the Greater Toronto area. Where else are you guys noticing new Albertans?
I'm definitely noticing it. Like Tony said, with new, I'm definitely noticing it in the new builds. Some people that I've talked to, gone out with, they're amazed at what they can buy for something brand new, and then they're also emphasizing safety. Coming from these very populated neighborhoods, like first thing they're asking me is pull up a safety chart, pull up a crime rate chart. Like we want to be in the safest spots because I think they're just getting out of overpopulated places that are considered not as safe.
So when somebody says like, hey, listen, I want to be in a neighborhood where I'll feel safe, like we can't guarantee safety, right?
No.
But where do you feel safe? Like if you had to just choose a neighborhood in Edmonton right now and say like, okay, if I was standing here, and let's make this a little bit more complicated. Let's say I was standing here at 2 a.m. Would I feel safe? Right? Where do you think that you would be, Amy?
I mean, I live in Keswick on the river. I feel super safe here. Really, anywhere in the Southwest, I find quite safe. And recently, I've been spending some time in this neighborhood called Glastonbury that I love. A little bit older than Windermere, but love that neighborhood.
Man, I sold the house there a few years ago, and the parks and paths in Glastonbury are awesome.
Nice.
Right? They really did a good job there. And they have like a golf course nearby, right? Like yeah, when you drive through there, you drive where there's like a crosswalk for golfers. Oh yeah, one neighborhood, yeah.
So Glastonbury's a little bit further south, but the parks are incredible.
Similar. Cruising through the West End, I have to say there's lots to see over there, but they all kind of feel a little bit golf coursey.
Yeah, they do. They have that vibe.
Tony, where would you be? 2 a.m. in the morning? Where are you going to stand that you would feel safe?
I mean, I'd feel pretty safe anywhere in St. Albert. There's some people that might say there's some sketchy neighborhoods, but they're really not as sketchy as other places. Like we can all think of a couple of them in Edmonton, but yeah, St. Albert's pretty safe.
And what do you think, Cordell?
I think I have a skewed view just because I grew up on the north side. So middle of the night, put me dead center in Castle Downs, I feel all right. But like to answer this question, I would say the newer developing West End, kind of like Edgemont, Secord, even like the newer north, kind of like Crystalina, Nera, or McConaughey, those are really safe neighborhoods. And I think just because it's newer, so it attracted younger families. And that's a lot of what I see. I see a lot of families on walks, 2 parents, 1 little child in a stroller. So yeah.
And that's a good point. I think that with those newer neighborhoods, they also end up with a lot more owners than tenants. Socioeconomic status is a little bit higher, especially when you get into people that can afford to do new builds. You know, often they've got to be able to afford to have 2 properties, somewhere to live while they get their build done. And so that would probably translate through to a bit less crime when it comes to those places. Where are you telling clients to stay away from? Like, is there any places in Edmonton that you're like, you know what, if safety is really important to you, then you're not going to want to buy here?
Alberta
Well,
Ave.
yeah,
Alberta Avenue,
Belvedere,
the most
Macaulay.
famous avenue. Right at the top of it, it has a giant bat.
Yep.
Because what did they change the name to? Avenue of Champions?
Did
I don't know.
They have some name for it, but I have to say that it really much looks like you should bring your own bat. Like it's a different spectacle than what it comes out at. So Alberta Avenue, Tony, what did you say?
I said Belvedere, Macaulay.
Yeah, the some of those northeast neighborhoods, same thing. Not going to feel, I guess, the opposite of the southwest, right, Amy?
I think so. For me, anywhere that's like super highly populated, like there are even neighborhoods in the Southwest that I'm like, this one's not for me. I'm not wanting to call them out, but there is a couple.
There are some places in the southwest that don't have any detached houses as well. Like
Yeah.
they are all higher density, and I think that's kind of what you had in mind.
Yeah. So like the way that that development works, you have to have a specific percentage of higher density. And so like the higher value land that's maybe backing onto the river or something like that is going to have less density. And then as you move towards highways and things like that, you're going to have more density.
You know where I'm noticing the new Albertans the most? I'm noticing them in traffic.
License plates.
I see the license plates, but I also see the drivers. And I have to say, like, move to the right, please. Because you know what? Not all Albertans are super polite. They will pass you on the right. They will pass you on the shoulder if you haven't moved all the way to the right. So there may be some adjustments here when it comes to learning a little bit more about the traffic.
True.
So what's on your radar as we close out the spring? Like the June is kind of the last spring market month, and we just got a rate announcement. So all those people with pre-approvals, the clock just started.
Yeah.
Right? Interest rates are going up. You now normally have somewhere between 90 and 120 days to buy a property. So really, what are we thinking? Are we thinking that we're going to get more inventory?
I think we are. Yeah.
I don't know that we're going to get a bunch more inventory, but I definitely think we're going to have more buyers.
So I think that buyers call inventory to the market, and that's why I see people that may have been like, maybe not coming to the market.
That's a good point. Actually, in every economic model, it's demand that calls supply to the market.
Yeah, I have a couple properties, and I'm starting to be like, maybe.
Oh, it's time, is it?
Well, you know, opportunity's knocking.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that I really wonder about is, are we going to see this condo market continue to unlock? Right? We're seeing Rowan townhouses on fire right now, right? Not literally. I know that there's actual Alberta wildfires, but what I'm saying is townhouses and row houses are outpacing everything when it comes to sales to new listing ratio, when it comes to how they're performing on the market right now. So is that going to push some of the buyers that would have bought townhouses into condos, like into those apartment style condos? Because that's what we really need to see, is we need to see more of those apartment style condos get renters in them. And that's been happening already. We see vacancy like pretty much at the ground here now. Like, I don't think you can get lower vacancy than what's going on in Edmonton right now. And so we're seeing rents go up. And I imagine that's going to pull a few of these apartment style condos off the market. They're just going to get tenants in them and kind of continue on their way here. So that should maybe reduce the supply a little bit. But I'm wondering if the people being pushed out of townhouses are going to increase the demand.
Yeah.
Slowly unthawing. We've been talking about this for almost 2 years now, that condo market is unlocking. So let's give some advice to buyers and sellers. Cordell, what's your best advice to a buyer that's coming into the market? They've got a timeline given their pre-approvals about to expire. What do you think that they should be focused on the most?
Getting connected with an agent and getting all the ducks in a row. You don't want to get to the offer, like the point of offer, and not be ready. You know, you want to have a pre-approval in hand. You want to know exactly what you're looking for. And that's why it's great to sit down with an agent and get all those details ironed out. What exactly are you looking for? What neighborhood are you looking in? Have you thought of size? Do you have children? Are you expecting children? I think just getting all the ducks in a row before you go out shopping. That way, once you do, you're ready to pull the trigger once you find the right home.
So you could sit down with any agent, like you can find a house and sit down with the listing agent?
No, not at all. And the reason being is because a listing agent has already promised that his seller the most amount of money. So he can't effectively do his job if he's pushing you towards his listing.
Yep, they've already made a promise to somebody. They promised somebody to get the most money. Now, as a buyer, do you want to pay the most money?
No, you're looking for a deal.
Probably not. So getting somebody else to look at it from your perspective and to help you view properties back to back so you can get that reference point, like those people that don't get it and they just go and book appointment after appointment with listing agents, they have no idea that a showing should be about you looking at the house, not somebody trying to convince you to work with them. Like you can actually have that other experience. And it starts with looking maybe at reviews and finding a great agent, interviewing maybe 3 of them. Just talk to them on the phone, see who's going to be a good fit. That's a great way to choose an agent to get on the right path. When it comes to sellers that are approaching the market, what do you think, Amy?
For sellers, come to the market at the right price. So what we've seen is that there have been a few people testing the market, but it seems like they start out testing the market and then they want to keep on their price, and it's a bad way to do real estate. So come to the market at the right price and respond to the market too. So that's how you get sold.
Honestly, like even when you're contacting experts, again, we highly suggest interviewing 3 agents. We have a great blog where you can get a good question set so that you can talk to these 3, and the thing that you get when you talk to 3 is you get the high, the low, and the average, right? My last review online was talking about how they interviewed 4 agents. And I'm very glad they picked me. But even if they didn't end up picking me, I feel much better about that family saving themselves from that 3-star experience in real estate by at least interviewing more. I also talked to somebody last night that was upset that they didn't list with me. They have had their property on the market for several months. They're already in their new place. They're making double mortgage payments. And they're like, man, I really think I should have contacted you, but we just felt obligated because we had met this other person in social situations. And this is business. Pick a great agent and get good opinions. Tony, those people that are both selling and buying, what does this market look like for them?
It can look like a puzzle without, how we all you look at the front of the box when we're trying to solve puzzles. Sometimes they don't have that box, right? You just have all these pieces and you're not really sure how they fit. So we always talk about is, where are you trying to go? And let's help you get there. Here's how we, go A plus B equals C. It's really about laying out that roadmap for them, helping them solve their sale and giving them that confidence to know that we're going to find them what they're looking for when the time is right, and really give them that full experience, because we don't want anybody to be homeless, right? We don't want you to sell and then have no idea what you're going to buy. But it's definitely a delicate balance, and it does take a lot of effort, but it's all about having a good plan.
I totally agree. I think our most common client is somebody who sells with us to buy with us. And what we're normally trying to line up is a situation where they have 1 or 2 weekends that they have both properties. That's the best way to move. We don't want you to have to move twice. And that's something that we're able to line up consistently. So I think that comes with inviting somebody like Tony to come to your house. He'll bring the front of the box with him. You'll be able to see the map from where you are to where you want to be. And that's something that could really help you solve that puzzle. Closing remarks. Let's see if we can summarize May in a single sentence. What would you use to describe the May real estate market as we close here? I see Amy lighting up. Do you have something?
I was thinking multiple offers.
multiple offers. I helped somebody sell multiple offers, then I helped them buy, and we had to win in multiple offers. So, yep, I would agree. How about you, Cordell?
Take action. Things went fast.
So if you sleep on it, you might not get to sleep in it?
Yep.
I hear you. Tony?
I was going to say the same thing. It's I see a lot of people out there that aren't sure, right? Or they're the house is perfect for them. They even mentioned a lot of those types of things while we're going through it, and then they really just want to sit on it or talk to other people about it. And then by the time they actually are ready to go, there's multiple offers, and they feel like they missed out because they're not able to compete in that price point that it's likely going to go to. So if you find something you like, just remember why you started, and hey, this is everything you're looking for. Let's go. We're going to be here to help guide you and make sure that you're on the right path, because we also want you to be happy in your home. We're not about the transaction. So just remember why you started.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that happens is that if you go look at the house and then it takes you a week to write an offer and you're in a multiple offer situation and the realtor is like, okay, here's who's in this offer. Sometimes the seller says, no, I don't want to pick that offer because they weren't sure. It took them a week to make the offer. So there's a lot of psychology going on. And so make that offer. Don't sit on things. People are looking at everything.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where, because we're in a seller's market, prices are going up, right? And so the thing that we know is that when people are queuing in on an offer, we can give you a market value of that property. Sometimes list price is not market value. So it's okay to spend a little bit more, but time is money. And the cost of losing means that if you don't find another property for 2 weeks, it's going to be setting its price off the one you just lost on. It's going to be further up market. And I've seen some people that have been cruising around for a long period of time. They've been shopping for over a month. They have to know that they could have got way more for their money a month ago. And it's going to continue pacing up from that, as we see so far. Like everywhere else, rising interest rates are meaning less real estate activity over a longer curve. Here, people are moving here. It's making houses more expensive on the loan side and on the price point. Well, I really appreciate you joining me today to help us decode some of the statistics released from the REALTORS Association of Edmonton. We're just closing another month. We're looking forward to an exciting month in real estate, and we're ready to list some properties. I'm out of listings. I need to find some more here. We got them sold. Anybody else feel that way? We have some available teammates right now. And if you want to get in touch with them, you can reach us through the Fast Agent hotline at 780-909-6770. We don't want to leave you waiting for a callback from somebody else. We want you to talk to one of these members here of the highest rated and reviewed real estate team on Rank My Agent in the entire greater Edmonton area. Let's help you save your family from a 3-star experience in real estate. You just give us a call. Thanks, guys. Good to see you. We'll talk soon.
See ya.